Kia ora no tātou katoa. So if I can take a brief call to say, or at least voice the support of the Māori Party for the exclusion of natural health products in Rongoa from the new Trans-Tasman agency to regulate medicines, medical devices and new medical interventions. So we're pleased that the traditional practices of healers and the natural products they rely on for Rongoa will not be included in the requirements of the joint regulatory scheme for therapeutic products. We say it's pretty good news for Māori that the plants used in Rākau, Rongoa do not come under the jurisdiction of the new controls. Just to be clear, sir, that this bill does not impact on Rongoa Māori, except when it is mass-produced and sold, which means that the framework for Rongoa is not being dictated, as Sue Kedgley says, by government. And basically, if Rongoa was being put on the commercial market, then we would want exactly the same standards applied as any other commercial product. So a strong and sensible regulatory scheme will ensure quality and safety, as again Sue Kedgley alluded to, for both consumers and manufacturers alike. The public should be and can be confident that products are safe and are true to what has been stated on the label. I didn't realise, sir, but there are around 450 companies supplying natural products onto the New Zealand market, and we noted a positive comment from a group called the Natural Products New Zealand, and they stated, and I quote, "Regulation that allows the industry to inform and protect New Zealand customers and at the same time facilitates innovation and export growth is desperately needed," end of quote. So there's a good line to at least start on in advancing the debate. A positive line which says that, and as the many speeches have been said this afternoon, opens the door up on the discussion. Finally, sir, Dr. Paul Hutchison mentioned Y262, and that's an important kaupapa for us. We're mindful of the importance of settling the Y262 claims before proceeding to the final stages of this bill. And we would hope that the Select Committee process will enable sufficient time for the representatives of the Y262 claim and Rongoa practitioners, in fact, providers and consumers, to also put forward their submissions on this particular issue in order to address issues to do with Indigenous flora and fauna, which includes obviously intellectual and cultural property rights. So we look forward to the debate as this bill moves forward, and in particular with respect to the Y262 claim, which obviously the report was released only, I think, about a month or 6 weeks ago. So thank you very much. Ka nui te mihi.
Honourable Steve Chadwick.
Just rising to take a quick call, and I am absolutely gobsmacked today, actually, at the flip-flop in politics. And it's interesting that it's Minister Coleman leading this and keeping Tony Ryall's hands away from the introduction of this bill today, because I'll start by quoting him in 2006, when he led a campaign actually to undermine the Labour approach at that time, beginning much earlier in 2002 with an inquiry when he said that the agency that would regulate healthcare products, which we all agreed was required, would be costly, restrictive and was unnecessary. Well, isn't it funny? And so I congratulate you in the House today to have actually got your bill before the House today, because I call it your bill and not, I don't believe for a minute that National over there is tolerating the process of this low-cost regulator. We know that the Minister has completely flip-flopped, and under the leadership of John Key, who confused the public at the time. John Key was right behind Labour's legislation at the time, and then he suddenly changed. And that was because Tony Ryall went to him after a cross-party meeting and said, for politics, pull your support on what Labour is proposing. And he was so spineless that he pulled his support, confused both the industry and the public at the time. Everyone in this House knows that we had an inquiry and it was a valuable process. We all reached a conclusion where we agreed that these products needed to be regulated, and we were moving in this. But I have a cynicism for the Greens that once we've got this bill through the Trans-Tasman relationship, Ministers of National will be moving to fold this regulatory agency into the Australian agency. And mark my words, I may not be around to see that happen, but that's exactly what National wants to do. They know it's more cost effective. They know that they would have a pan-regulator that would cover the Pacific, Asia and New Zealand, and that's what they want to do. This was just a little bit of pandering to the Greens to get their support, and I congratulate Sue for that, but I think we're going to support it to Select Committee. It's going to be interesting to hear from the industry. It's going to be interesting to hear about costs to the industry with a standalone regulator. We have heard that it'll be $1.1 million to set up, $1.8 million operating costs, then $36 million every year to maintain this regulator. So let's just watch what it costs. Let's watch what it costs the industry, who'll have to pay by fees to licence their products, and let's just hear from the industry. Therefore, on that basis, Mr Speaker, no, we don't scaremonger actually. We wear our heart on our sleeves. We always wanted to move with a regulator. This country has lost 5 years of economic benefits from having a regulator when we moved, and that was canned by National over there. So we'll monitor the costs, we'll monitor the industry responses, we'll monitor the way that this regulator is set up, and we'll be watching very closely what happens with our Trans-Tasman partnership. We support this to Select Committee. We look forward to those responses.
Mr Speaker.
Kamal Sibaloni.
Mr Speaker, just following on